Apple just had their third big event of the year, where they announced new HomePod minis, the all-new third-generation AirPods, and some souped-up new MacBook Pros. So starting off with the new HomePod minis, well, there isn't really much to say other than that they come in 3 new colors in blue, yellow, and orange. We'll be doing an unboxing on them soon, so subscribe for that, but for now, they're still just $99 and will be available starting in November. But the product I've been looking forward to the most are the new AirPods, which got their biggest update since Apple first announced them, with a new design that looks almost like the AirPod Pros, just without the silicone ear tips. The new design brings a significantly shorter stem for a more low-profile look. The stem has a force sensor where you can pinch them to control media versus tapping on them like you had to with the old AirPods. And they're now IPX4 sweat and water resistant, so you don't have to worry about them getting wet while you're working out or in the rain. But maybe more importantly than the new design though, is these new AirPods are supposed to sound better too, with a new dynamic driver that brings deeper and richer bass along with crisper and cleaner highs, which, alone could be a reason to consider upgrading. But Apple also packed in some other features that were previously only on the Pro models, like spatial audio, where you get a more immersive experience when viewing content, and the adaptive equalizer feature will tune the sound coming from the AirPods to the shape of your ear. On top of all that, the battery life has been improved to up to 6 hours on a single charge, with the new battery case that's now a little bit shorter and a little bit wider than before, charging them up to 4 times fully, bringing the total possible time when everything is topped off to a whopping 30 hours, which is better than even the AirPods Pro. Now, what's cool about the new charging case is it supports MagSafe, so you'll be able to magnetically attach it to a MagSafe charger. Although, unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to snap onto the back of the new iPhones. We'll be sure to test that once we get them, but for now, the AirPods cost $179, and you can order them starting today with availability later this week. Okay, next up are the new 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros, which got a huge upgrade. So you know how year after year Apple removes more and more ports? Well, they kind of flipped the script this time and brought some of the ports back, with the new MacBook Pros having a full HDMI port, an SD slot, and MagSafe is finally making its way back to the Mac. Now, the cost of all this extra connectivity is the new MacBook Pros do look a little bit thicker than before. But I think for most Pro users, that trade-off is easily worth it, especially once you open them up, where both models get a new liquid XDR display with that mini LED tech that we saw on the iPad Pro that gives you a 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio. Both screens get a higher resolution, and both get that buttery smooth ProMotion refresh rate of up to 120 Hz. On top of that, the bezels are also now thinner at the sides and at the top, with Apple bringing the notch to the Mac in order to make this happen, but the notch here isn't for Face ID though. You still have Touch ID to unlock, with it instead housing the new 1080p FaceTime camera. Now, one thing Apple did remove this year though is the touch bar, with them instead opting for the old reliable dedicated function keys. But maybe the biggest story here with the new MacBook Pros is what's powering them in the new M1 Pro and the M1 Max chips under the hood. And they're way more powerful. The M1 Pro has 3 times the memory bandwidth of the M1, the CPU is 70% faster, and the GPU is up to 2 times faster, with the M1 Pro supporting up to 32 GB of unified memory. The M1 Max, on the other hand, goes even further than that, with it having 6 times the memory bandwidth, a 4 times faster GPU, and up to 64 GB of unified memory. And all this is while being more efficient than the competition. Apple made a whole bunch of different claims here, but the battery life on the M1 MacBooks were really good last year, so I expect good things for these new ones as well. There's a whole lot more to cover on these new MacBook Pros. We'll talk about that in our unboxing, but for now, you can order both models starting today with availability starting next week.